Oh, all right. So I'm going to show you a picture. First of all, we've got the amateur astronomer picked up this picture of this image and has pretty much established that there's an object there just yesterday, or actually it's a couple days ago. And check this out now. Watch this. Now, especially watch this object up here. The lens flare, as we know, is the sun because we saw the eclipse. Remember when we saw it in the eclipse, we could actually see it in the lens flare? Watch this. They're trying to see if they can shake that little spot up to the left, and then as soon as he gets the flare on it, watch what happens. Goes back this way, and then boom, the whole thing lights up. Okay? Now, see that? That's the lens flare. That's something else. Okay? Now, let me see if I can explain this, or this is at least what I'm noodling around. I'm not saying that it's going to explain anything. I'm just saying that I'm noodling it around, I guess is a better way to put it. But anyway, check it. This is a white paper. A white paper is a scientific paper. It is used to talk about, different, intellectual pursuits. And then when when the scientists have their theory and their formulas worked out, they actually put together a white paper to talk about what they found or what they're studying. And that's what this is here. It's a white paper. So anyway, the name of the white paper, guys, is Cloaking Device for Transiting Planets by the Department of Astronomy at Columbia University. And this was basically a method for, what it really came under the context of is, can we hide our planet from the outside? In other words, if we wanted to hide our planet from outside observation, could we do it? Could we cloak a planet? Consider an advanced civilization residing on a planet which would presumably have similar insulation to that of the Earth. Let us imagine that the inhabitants have discovered all the nearby habitable planets in their ecliptic plane. Since the inhabitants presumably know the orbit of their own planet precisely, the position of the star hosting habitable planets, they're easily able to evaluate which habitable worlds would be. And then because of our experience in highly successful transit, they thought it would be a good idea to hide the planet. In a nutshell, I'll link a copy of this to you so you can actually go check it out. You can download it off my Google. But anyway, to make a long story short, by using a laser emission and then basically, using this laser light, the sunlight, and all different types of the effects of the Earth, this paper does go ahead and talk about the idea of actually cloaking a planet. You with me? White paper, Columbia University, not bullshit. Absolutely a cloaking device for transiting planets. Kipling, guy that designs the Kipling telescope, all that. Okay, those guys. Go read this, okay? I'm not going to sit here and bore you with it. But the reason I thought of this paper, this white paper that I've been trying to work my freaking limited brain power through, is this picture today. When I see this, it tells me that they're actually pointing some type of a laser light, or they're using this type of technology for cloaking planets to hide what we know is there from an amateur astronomer image from just a couple days ago. So now I'm starting to corroborate this together and actually say, oh my gosh, did this subscriber just accidentally reveal their cloaking technology for the planet? Is that what happened right there? Couldn't tell you. But it is interesting, is it not? Next thing. This is just a picture looking east while the sun's setting in the west. I'm going to darken this image up again so you can see what I'm seeing here, because it's harder to see where you're at than it is from where I'm at. So let's just do this. Let's contrast it up a little bit. Let's play a little bit. See that? See that we're getting that more and more of this red orb showing up on the horizon all the time, guys. And I honestly, and then light coming from the east. It happened last year. It happened this year. Nothing bad happened last year. I don't know what it means. And then this one was actually a naked eye view of something in what is right now close to that whole Virgo constellation. And of course, everybody's nervous about it, so they're wanting to take pictures of stuff. But when you see it with the naked eye, it could be a cloud, but at the same time, they felt pretty confident that it was making its own lens flare. And I can't argue with that given the proximity of this lens flare, right? So anyway, this is a picture that all too many Americans are seeing right now is empty stores. And before I let you go today, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about a concept that is really important as we face potential disasters all over the world, and especially in the United States recently with hurricanes, earthquakes, etc. Okay? And that concept is cognitive normalcy bias. Okay? Normalcy bias is a belief that people enter when facing a disaster. It causes them to underestimate both the possibility of a disaster, which we see a lot of, and its possible effects. Because it causes people to have a bias to believe things that will always function the way things normally function. This may result in situations where people fail to adequately prepare, and on a larger scale, the failure of governments to include the populace in disaster preparations, right? The assumption that is made in the case of normalcy bias is since one has never personally experienced a disaster, no one ever will, which is ridiculous. It can result in the inability of people to cope with a disaster when it occurs. People with normalcy bias have difficulties reacting to something they have not experienced before. They also tend to interpret warnings in the most optimistic way possible, seizing on any ambiguities or to infer a less serious situation. Normalcy bias is essentially a desire for the status quo. And I get it, right? I totally get normalcy bias. And about 70%, according to this Wikipedia article, it says 70% of people reportedly display normalcy bias in a disaster, okay? So what I want to do here is I just want to go back to this picture I was showing and just say, you know, when you've got a cart and you're expecting to get stuff at a Walmart store, okay, and that stuff isn't there anymore, okay? Now, this isn't to freak you out or to scare you or to make you, you know, fly out and buy supplies or anything like that. We believe in a take it one piece at a time approach. Don't try to do everything in one day. You know, try to have a preparation. But I'll tell you what, people in Florida are suffering from normalcy bias right now. People in Houston are suffering from it. And guys, that's what WSO is all about. We're here to inoculate you from this so that when you see this stuff start to happen, if it happens, if you're unfortunate, you have a disaster, that you have a preparation plan in place. And that we look up in the skies together and we see what's really there and don't go by what other people tell us. Last thing I'm going to say before I let you guys go on this normalcy bias thing is, listen, do your own research. Don't count on my stuff. I'm just one little voice in the wilderness, you guys. And I hope that I'm helpful in sharing information on my spiritual knowledge and my growth pattern and what I've gone through, and all that's great. But this is a personal research site, and I really do want to keep conducting it as such and just bring you guys along for the ride. I'm really not here to criticize anybody else. I love you all. Take care. Bye.
Everybody, it's Monday, May 8th, 2017. This is Steve Olds from WSO GNN coming at you. I've got you at a Bloom Sky camera in Hawaii, and what I wanted to do first is just corroborate that little thing of the hole that we saw in the ISS with some ground shots. So let me just kind of take you through this one real quick, and I'll show you what I mean. So basically, you've got your sunrise coming up over the sky, and then you see this little dot, and you'll see this all over the place, right? And it's not a lens flare. This is a lens flare. This is staying with the sun. So what we want to do is we want to kind of zoom in on that and see what that might be, right? And what's amazing to me about this is that it is that orb with a hole in it, guys. Check it out, man. I'll get in as close as I can here, but check it out. Look at that. See the hole? So that seems to be that same orb with a hole in the Bloom Sky picture there from Hawaii, which I think was interesting. Now let's go on to the next Bloom Sky here real quick, and I'll show you some other stuff that's going on here. This one is interesting. This is just from yesterday, in Maryland. And in this one, you're going to see the planet, a planet, an orange planet. And I'm going to show it to you on another place where we found it. And this one is clearly showing something up in the sky here, right? So this one is from yesterday in Maryland. And this one is from, I don't know where this is actually. Somebody tell me. It's someplace. But anyway, this is just another picture of one of the Bloom sky cams, basically catching that little orb in the background again. And then something else traveling with the sun there. And then here's another Bloom sky that I thought was interesting. This is Utah. Again, here's that red object again. Right? And then here's another one. Now, what's interesting to me is that we got a picture yesterday of somebody who in the southeast sky at noon in North Carolina actually photographed a planet or something. No, it's not the moon. I checked that. It can't be the moon. Okay? Simply cannot be the moon. And then we're going to take a look. And then finally, this Bloom sky, you can see the real detail of a refraction of that orb up there. Look at this. Guys, look at this. What the heck is that? Right? Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Now, what I want to do here is I want to take you to a recent composite that I did for stereo. And what you'll see is this unidentified system here, large orb here, and what I did was I reversed it out a little bit so we could see some things. And just to show you, it goes across, right? And then it gets distorted. And that is just not explained. Nobody's been able to share what that is. This is a more recent photograph of it, and then we've got this large stuff down here. So I really do think that this is a potentially interesting thing here, and nobody is able to identify it. I can't see it on any star charts. I just have to assume that it's a planet in the Nibiru system. That's all I can say, guys. And then here's that green orb being seen yesterday. This is in Moonglow, where you can actually see this thing starting to show up in the sky. So that corroborates pretty well, in my opinion, don't you guys think? And then let's keep going here. Then we've got this red thing showing up in Brazil again. It doesn't move, and that's what bothers me about it. If it was in space, wouldn't it move? Right? And then here's Moonglow from today, and I just got to show you this. There's that object right here. Check it out. See it? Greenish, orangish. So I'm pretty settled that it's up there. I'm pretty settled that we've got a greenish orb up there that we've taken both from this was seen with the naked eye, and then also on the All Skycam network. So all very interesting stuff, guys. Just wanted to lay this out to you that I think that green planet's going to be really visible from Moonglow now.